Early on, when you first start simming, you typically use the mouse for everything. You hunt around the cockpit and click switches. It's slow, but it works. Then you get better. You stop reaching for the mouse and start using keyboard shortcuts instead. But here's the moment where it breaks down. You're flying the pattern, turning base. It's time to extend flaps. If you've got a physical flaps lever, great. You move it. You keep flying. If you don't, you feel the hesitation. You grab the mouse. You try to find the flaps control in the virtual cockpit, or you use the keyboard shortcut. That's assuming you remember what it is. Was it F7 or F6? Or was it something else? If you haven't flown in a few days, maybe you pause the sim. You look it up, or you reach for that piece of paper where you wrote it down. And right there, in the middle of a perfectly good base to final turn, you've stopped flying. You're not managing the airplane anymore, you're managing keyboard shortcuts. The solution I landed on was the Elgato Stream Deck. The particular model I use is the original 15-button deck. It costs about $150 US. I put a link in the description. At its most basic level, it lets you map keyboard shortcuts to dynamically labeled physical buttons. Pressing one of those buttons is treated exactly the same as pressing the corresponding keys on the keyboard. Instead of memorizing shortcuts, you press a labeled button. The button label tells you exactly what it does. With the deck mounted directly to my cockpit panel within easy reach, I don't have to break immersion to use it. It's a simple USB device. This compact box eliminates fumbling for the keyboard when you're flying. But mapping keyboard shortcuts to buttons is just the starting point. Let me show you how to set it up, and then we'll zoom out and talk about some of the cool ways you can take this much further. Let me give you an example using my own setup. Yours may be different, but the basic ideas still apply. For me, the biggest gap was switching views during flight. A lot of people use the hat switch on their yoke for that. I don't. I use my hat switch for adjusting trim. I wanted the yoke button to match the controls in the airplane I like to fly, which is the Cirrus SR-22. On top of that, my sim is built on a racing rig-style platform. I don't have a normal desk in front of me. There's really no good place to put a keyboard. I tried a keyboard tray with a swing-out arm. It worked, but it was bulky and got in the way of the controls. And it constantly reminded me that I was sitting in a computer-based simulator. Over time, I realized something important. I don't actually need the keyboard very often while flying. I mostly need it during flight setup or occasional configuration. So I keep a compact wireless keyboard off to the side on a small table. When I really need it, I just put it in my lap. With my new sim, once I'm airborne, almost everything I need has a physical equivalent. So what I put on the Stream Deck were the things I didn't have hardware controls for. In my case, that was mostly view-related commands, looking out at specific angles, glancing at instruments, toggling between inside and outside cockpit views, and pausing the sim. The only actual flight control I mapped was the parking brake release. That's simply because I don't have a physical control for it. For the rest, I just operate the sim hardware. At a basic level, setting up the Stream Deck is straightforward. You start by assigning a function to the keyboard shortcut inside Microsoft Flight Simulator. Here's an example for the functionality to extend the flaps. You go into the keyboard control customization screen and look for flaps. You can use the key it's already mapped to, or you create a new mapping. Take note of the key that it's mapped to. Then you open the Stream Deck software. You drag the hotkey option onto a blank button. Or you can just copy an existing button. You edit it and type the key for extend flaps into the input box. Here it's F7. That button now outputs F7 when you press it, just as if you had typed it. And so when you press it in the sim, the flaps extend. Each button can be labeled with a clear, meaningful icon, so you don't have to memorize what each one does. Elgato includes a nice set of built-in general-purpose icons. Arrows, symbols, and generic controls work surprisingly well. For flight simulation specifically, there are also excellent third-party icon packs. The ones I use come from the Microsoft Flight Sim Profile Pack by Sideshow FX. They're available on the Elgato Marketplace for about $15. I'll put a link in the description. If you prefer, you can also use your own icons. Any small image you create or download will work. The ideal format is a 72 by 72 pixel PNG file. Animated GIFs also work if you want your button labels to have motion. Once the buttons are in place, you can organize them into pages. That's how you can keep related functions together. You can build out a whole library of functions that are easily available at your fingertips while flying. For example, you might dedicate an entire page just to camera controls. At this point, you've already solved the fumbling for the keyboard problem, but you've only scratched the surface of what's possible with the Stream Deck. Once you get comfortable with the idea of programmable buttons, a whole new world opens up. Anything you can trigger with a keyboard shortcut becomes a candidate. If you look through the control mapping screens in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you can see the sheer number of possibilities. It might be something simple like turning on a beacon light, or it could be autopilot modes or opening and closing ATC windows. As the aircraft gets more complex, this flexibility starts to matter more. That's especially true if you fly airliners, where there are far too many systems to control physically unless you have a full replica cockpit. Another way of expanding the possibilities is with the different Elgato versions. Not every Stream Deck is just a grid of buttons. Some models add rotary knobs and touch sliders. Those are far better suited for continuous adjustments, heading bugs, altitude pre-select, barometric pressure, radio tuning. There's also a growing ecosystem of add-ins that change what a button can represent. Instead of a static label, a button can act like a small dynamic gauge. It can display a value read directly from the sim, and it can update in real time. At that point, the device stops feeling like a shortcut launcher. It starts behaving more like a configurable instrument, but at a fraction of the cost of dedicated sim hardware. None of this is required to fix the original keyboard shortcut problem, but it shows how far the idea can scale up as your setup evolves. There was a great talk at a previous Flight Sim Expo that went into these details. I'll put a link in the description. I highly recommend the Elgato Stream Deck, but it's not perfect. Sometimes there isn't a suitable button label readily available that describes the function you want to control, so you have to use a more generic label. And with the limited number of buttons on each page, you have to be intentional about what you map. But overall, for me, it was a game changer for ease of use and realism. That's even true in VR. In fact, I mapped buttons for recentering VR and pausing the sim where I could reach them blindly with the headset on. That's something I could never do with a keyboard. If you found any of this useful, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching, and happy simming.